All right, thank you. Alright, hello there everyone. Hope you all are doing well. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a talk of round 2 of our home Digesterponics system. So just to give you a brief overview in case you didn't see our first live stream, behind me here is our home anaerobic digestion system. So you may be wondering what anaerobic digestion is. Pretty much, anaerobic digestion is a microbial process that takes place without oxygen, where basically you can put in food waste, yard waste, any organic waste, and anaerobic bacteria, which are bacteria that live in environments without oxygen, basically break down that food waste and convert it into fertilizer and into biogas. So from the fertilizer we can grow hydroponic plants, and from the biogas we can use that to generate electricity, or in this case, since this is a small home system, we can use that for cooking. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of how you can start up your anaerobic digestion home system. So what I have behind me here is our sink, where we'll be putting in our food waste, and our garbage disposal and macerator pump will be breaking that down and putting that into our first digestion tank. You may be wondering what types of food waste go into these tanks. Pretty much any food waste that your garbage disposal can handle. So in this one we can handle anything from meats, dairies, fruits, vegetables, eggshells, but we'll avoid putting in like really hard seeds or really hard fibrous material. If you want to try to put that in, I would try to avoid seeds, like really hard pits like avocado pits or like loquat pits, but if you wanted to put in more fibrous stuff, I suggest you just chop it into small pieces before you put it into your garbage disposal. So, first, before you put in any food waste into your digestion system, you need bacteria. So, today we'll be using a little bit of horse manure. It's not super excellent if you're trying to get biogas out of the system, but it'll work really great for fertilizer. So that's what we'll be doing first. So, here's a big bag of horse manure. It's dried. It's been sitting for a few days. Ideally, you want to get your manure or whatever other inoculant you're using. Often people use inoculant from wastewater treatment plants, or just a dried mix of bacteria. But pretty much, you want to get it as fresh as possible. So this isn't optimal, but it'll be good enough. So, first, in order for me to do that, you may notice that this is a barrel that has a snap lid, so I'll want to take off the snap lid. Notice that we have these parts here called unions, and this will allow me to really easily take off the top of this and put in my inoculant. You may be wondering, why don't I just put it through the garbage disposal? Horse manure has a lot of hay and a lot of really fibrous grass and a lot of grit in it, and so it can clog our equipment. We don't want to clog our equipment, so we're just going to go ahead and plop it right in the bottom of this. So, let me just start taking off the unions. You're going to want to basically spin them in like a counterclockwise direction. So you'll want to keep spinning it and notice that the threads loosen up, and now I can see the black rubber gasket in the middle, so that means that's off. Awesome. I'm also going to undo the one up here. Alright, now that my unions are off, I'm going to undo the snap lid. And notice that this has a lock, so in order to undo this, right, I just take off the lock and just open it up. I'll want to keep opening it a little bit wider than the barrel size here. And I'll want to just go ahead and take this off. Nice and slow. Just making sure that everything comes off nice and smoothly. We are in a little bit of a tight space, so I'm just gonna need to widen this a little more. There we go. It's a bit of a tight space, like I said, so I'm just gonna pull it out. There's a lovely quick union over here. So I'll just go undo the quick union between the first and the second tank. Hopefully help me get the barrel out a little bit better. Alright. So I'm just gonna shimmy the barrel out a little bit. Shimmy it out a little more. There we go. And voila! Took a little bit of effort, but it's a nice tight space, so there we go. A little bit of liquid inside there waiting for us, all water, and that way our horse manure has something to go into. So, if you'd like, you can just wear gloves and do this. I'm okay with just washing my hands afterwards, so there we go. So we got our horse manure from a local ranch in Ramona, so thank you to Portland Farms. There we go. There is our lovely farm-smelling bag of horse manure. We're just going to go ahead and slowly pop this in. Being careful not to cause too much of a splash. And there we go. It's our lovely little horse turds. Alright. So, we'll make that bacteria nice and happy by keeping it at a good mesophilic temperature. Now, basically, we're going to put on a little bit of Metalla mesh. This will provide more surface area for the bacteria to grow on as we put in food waste, and it'll help keep the bacteria from washing out of the digester. So this is a little bit of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. So if we're going to do all of the Metalla, we'll want to start out with our finer material. So notice that this is a lot thinner than, say, the green, or the blue or the black. So basically we'll want to do it in ascending order: green, blue, black. We'll just slide it in one after the other. Notice they're already cut out to fit into the 55-gallon barrel. If you're going to do this yourself, you just want to measure it before you plop it in, and then cut it, and so on and so forth. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Alrighty. And black. Finally, you can see more of how the Metalla works kind of in this one, just because it's larger. It's just basically a bunch of knotted plastic that's porous and provides, again, more surface area for the bacteria to grow. And there we go. You can look inside and see our finished product. And as we fill it up with food waste, right, some of these will float a little bit and again provide more of that surface area. So, there we go. Now to put back on the lid. And remember, when you put back on the lid, just make sure to overextend the metal ring just so that you can snap it on. Make sure it's around on all the sides. There we go. Now you can just go ahead and close it. It can be a little difficult sometimes. There we go. Nice and tight. Now I'm going to slowly move it back into place and put in all the unions. Actually, we may need to loosen this a little bit again, just so that we can rotate this if we need to, which it looks like we might need to. Let's do these one at a time, shall we? Let's get that a little bit tightened up. And then slowly adjust the other ones into the right place. Looks like this guy needs to be rotated a little. Alright. So now that I've tightened that gear in, I'm just going to go ahead and tighten the other ones. Right? Now we're good. So once you've tightened your unions and put the lid back on, that is the only time you have to ever do this ever. The only time you have to do this ever. So once it's inoculated, you're good to go. Now you can let the bacteria grow as you feed it. We put in about 10 pounds of manure into the tank. So we're going to start out by putting between 10 and 20% of that weight into the digester. In order to start up the reactor correctly, you basically have to feed it little bit by little bit. And this will adapt your culture to whatever you're going to be feeding it. And you'll know that your bacterial culture is healthy if the pH of your digester is between 7 and 8, and if your, really that's your main indicator, is your pH. So we'll be showing that in another episode. In this one I'm just going to show you how to feed the digester. So, today, let's see, what do we have? We made a soup last night, so I have some lemon peels, some vegetables, some fennel. So I'm going to feed that in there. So first, what you want to do is you want to turn on your macerating pump, just because you don't really need to do a whole lot of work for it. The macerating pump has an automatic valve that will start when you fill the garbage disposal up. So it had some extra water in it, looks like. Yeah, I'll tighten up the union in just a second. There we go. You really want to make sure you get your unions nice and tight. Just to make sure nothing leaks. Alright. So, next, we'll turn on our water source. In this case, our water source is going to be some leftover aquarium water. The algae has a good amount of nitrogen, and basically that can help provide some nutrients to our digester as well. And there we go. Just gonna test the garbage disposal macerator pump again, just to make sure. You can hear that it's running and actively pumping the water. We see no leaks, so it's good to go. Notice that I have to kind of channel the water back into the tank, kind of break that suction. I'll just hold that for a second. Let me fill that up back here, actually. Alright. So, awesome. Our macerator pump is working. Woohoo! Next, we're going to put in our food. It would be nice if this one had a switch, but that's okay. So, this probably isn't the safest way to do this. Ideally, you would want this garbage disposal on a power cord with a switch, so that you don't have to keep plugging it in and out. So, yeah. So basically, in order to be a little safer about this, I'm going to take my food waste that I'm going to put into the garbage disposal, and then turn on the sink and then flush it in. So let's start with some fennel. And just for purposes of color, let's see. Put in lemon. Put in some apple. Looks like we have some mushroom bits in here too. So I'll go ahead and put some of that in as well. Alright. In fact, this goes pretty fast, so I'm just gonna dump the whole thing in, why not? Because this is, honestly, in effect, about a pound of food waste. Maybe even less than that. So, that should be more than enough for a bacteria to start out with. So again, I'm just going to go ahead, put the food waste in, which I already did. Now I'll want the water source. And then I'll put in my macerator now. Alrighty. So for lemon peels like this, they're pretty big, so you will want to kind of break it up a little bit. Oh, cool! A magical power strip with a switch appeared. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug that in. Change some things around. There we go. That'll allow us to plug in our switch. Swings. Ready? There's our nice little foot pedal. Alright. So, now that I've plugged that in with my little foot pedal, I will get the water started. So add a little bit of water in order to mix the food waste, and then I'll go ahead and start. So now you'll just want to break up your more fibrous materials and plop them right in. Turn off the water a little bit. I'll give it one more little pump of water, just to get the last of the food waste down. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of bread as well. Might as well finish up. Alright. I'm gonna turn it off while I just add in the food waste. So that was, honestly about a pound of food waste. Gonna put in some bread. It's better if you kind of break up the food waste a little bit, just because the garbage disposal doesn't have to stress so much when you do that. So that was our more fibrous vegetables. Now we have some bread to go in there. Some bread, some different agricultural waste, some picked leaves from the plants inside. All that can go in here. Gonna just again, when you have this system, it's really great if you just chop up your compost a little bit before you put it in here, just because that will help the garbage disposal last a little bit longer, put a little bit less stress on it. Alright, there is our broken down food waste. Alrighty, so now we'll repeat the process again. We have the macerator pump plugged in, then we'll do the water, then we'll do the garbage pump. So, I already have that plugged in, now I'll do the water. Now I'll do the garbage pump. I want to feed it in kind of slow. And then you'll just want to turn it off in the reverse order. So garbage disposal, then water, then macerator pump. And that's a wrap, everyone. That is how you put in food waste and inoculate your digester. So, you can see what the finished product will end up looking like with our lovely hydroponics here. So once the food waste breaks down into liquid fertilizer, it'll basically flow through these tanks with gravity and then end up at our fertilizer reservoir right at the end here. And from there, we have a water pump that's on right now and recirculating water up here through these vertical towers, which will soon have plants in them, and then through all of these trays to our lettuce and kale. So now, we'll get to enjoy a beautiful salad full of lettuce and kale, and basically each of these trays can more or less produce up to around even 20 pounds per week of produce, depending on what you're growing. So, you can get a lot of produce from just these small vertical trays, and you can continue to recirculate the digestate liquid for a while, and since it is a linear flow-through process, you'll continue to get more and more fertilizer as you produce this. But in about a week or two, we found that pretty much all of it was taken up by the plants, and so pretty much you won't really have to worry about it getting clogged up and having extra fertilizer that you don't really know what to do with. And so if you do even get extra fertilizer and you're not sure what to do with it, you can just very easily hook up a little water pump like we did with this aquarium tank and put it right back into your digester. So nothing ever goes to waste, and you can just have a completely closed loop system. Food waste to food. So there we go. I hope all of you have a wonderful evening. I'm Enid Partika, and I am CEO of the Bioenergy Project. If you're interested, you have any other questions about the Digesterponics system, about our goals and what we're doing, feel free to email thebioenergyproject@gmail.com. Alright, thanks everyone.